Coming up, a fatal fire in Lamar claims the life of one person.
Off to a great looking mid-March start. Actually going to have a little bit of a midweek warm up and a little incoming rain. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, Joplin PD mourns the loss of a retired chaplain following their most recent loss.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. We'll have those stories and more, including how affection from dogs is medicinal. But first, let's go over to Michael Hayslip to talk about those warmer temperatures slated for this week.
That means dogs' affection that we're putting on par with everything else that's medicinal.
Yeah.
The dog's affection is legal in all 50 states, too. Don't need to worry about that. Thank you, Bronte. A little new thing we're going to break out here. We're going to call it What to Watch and break it down each Monday. Probably do it on Friday as well as we head into the weekend. But just a quick hitter and an overview of what we can expect this week. Scattered rain beginning this afternoon. That's going to last us through Monday night. Nice thing is no threat of severe weather. And then as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to push up into the 70s. Going to be a great looking middle of the week with some rain finally reemerging Thursday afternoon into Friday morning. But luckily no huge cold front on the backside of it. Already pushing up to 50 degrees there over 7th and Rangeline. Look at that wind right there, coming in from the south at least, but doing so at 17 miles an hour. 46 in Miami, 44 in Iola. Let's roll 43 in Monette. So not a wide discrepancy in temperatures. And this afternoon with a whole bunch of sunshine, we'll be able to make it up into the high 50s, even low 60s. Now let's talk about our incoming rain on the way for tonight into tomorrow, because while our Skywatch storm tracker remains clear right now, we begin scattered variety this afternoon. A little band begins to formulate pre-sunrise right there. Once again, not looking at anything severe. Going to see the hardest rain along and south of I-44. Last us, pretty good into early Tuesday morning, but by the time you get ready to drive tomorrow, shouldn't be of any effect as it'll push off down to the southeast. 7-day forecast with St. Patrick's Day clover on there for Thursday, up around 72. And even that rain and that cold front on Thursday and Friday at Bronte still able to keep us in the 50s to end our work week and back into the 60s for Saturday and Sunday.
All right, thanks, Michael. A fire at a home in Lamar leaves one person dead. Around 6 this morning, Lamar police and fire responded to a fire at a home near the intersection of 10th and Grand. They found flames and heavy smoke showing from the home. 67-year-old William Parker and 71-year-old Betty Jo Parker lived at the home. Officials say that Betty Jo was found dead. They say it appears she went back into the home to rescue a pet and was overcome by smoke. William is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire has been ruled accidental. The Joplin Police Department has provided more details concerning the funeral for Corporal Ben Cooper. In the release, the city and police department said they wanted to express their deepest gratitude for the overwhelming amount of support from the community as we all mourn the loss of Corporal Ben Cooper. Officials say if you're attending the public funeral service on Tuesday, you must enter through the checkpoint at the intersection of Newman Road and Duquesne Road. Officials say they encourage anyone in the community who wants to honor Corporal Cooper to attend the service. If members of the public would like to show support to the Cooper family or to law enforcement, you're encouraged to line Main Street from 3rd to 19th Street. The department says the procession will travel that route between 3 and 4 on Tuesday, and they ask that people avoid parking on Main Street during that time. A couple of other notes the city wanted to provide. People should expect brief traffic delays in and around the city on Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Additionally, Duquesne Road between Newman and Tallgrass Drive will be closed from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The department says details for Officer Jake Reed's service will be released in the coming days. Funeral services were also announced for Officer Jake Reed, killed in the same encounter. These services will also be at MSSU. Visitation will be on Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. The funeral will be on Friday at 1. Officer Reed was 27. The Joplin Police Department announced it'll retire the radio numbers of Corporal Cooper and Officer Reed in the coming days. Officials say an officer's radio number becomes a part of their identity and adds another piece to the brotherhood of law enforcement. Corporal Cooper's radio number was 222. Officer Reed's number was 270. Officer Rick Hershey was also shot on Tuesday. At last report, Hershey was in serious but stable condition, recovering from a gunshot to the face. The police chief said Hershey will likely require numerous surgeries and a long recovery. As the Joplin Police Department mourns the loss of 2 officers in the line of duty this week, they're now mourning the loss of a longtime former chaplain. Roger Nichols was a chaplain for JPD for 18 years. The department said in a Facebook post, he selflessly served the department and specifically the family of Officer Tim Nielsen after Tim gave his life to service in the community. Nichols was killed in a crash on East 20th Street in Joplin. He was 60 years old. Workers at Trinity Circle Horses Healing Hearts know a lot of first responders are hurting right now, and they want to help. So they're offering any emergency service workers free equine therapy. Trinity Circle is located in Goodman, Missouri. Some workers there have relatives who worked as emergency personnel.
I want them to hear that having PTSD or emotional trauma from an event is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength, because you had the heart to go and do what many cannot and most will not.
Trinity Circle Horses Healing Hearts is located on Sorrel Road in Goodman. Joplin's North Park Mall played host to the 8th annual March o' the Kidney. The walk raises money for the Freeman Dialysis Patient Assistance Fund. That fund helps local patients with special dietary needs, transportation to specialized kidney transplant appointments, and more. Officials with Freedman say it's great to see the community come together every year for the special walk.
We have such a great community support for kidney disease, and we have people from all walks of life, all professions coming in to help support us, and we have a wonderful community in Joplin, and I couldn't be more proud.
Doctors say early detection is key, and there are some risk factors to be aware of. Those include diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, family history of kidney disease, and aging. Some ethnicities at higher risk for kidney disease include African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Pacific Islanders, and American Indians. You might want to break out those calculators today because it's hard to count the digits of what today is. It's National Pie Day.
I was told there would be no math during this show.
Well, I'm sorry. The day recognizes the mathematical number of pi. We all know the first 3 numbers as 3.14, but it has an infinite amount of digits. Let's go back to high school geometry for a second to remember what pi is. It's the ratio between the circumference of a circle and its diameter. So celebrate this mathematical day by recalling some digits of pi, or make yourself a pie to celebrate all circle-shaped desserts are welcome on Pie Day. Well, guess we're gonna have to make a pie now to celebrate.
That's not bad. That's not a bad idea. See, I can go for that.
Yeah, you seemed kind of mad when we talked about math.
So true story. There's a curtain. Here we go. My mom is an educator, and the school that I went to, she happened to teach at. And a family friend of ours who happened to be my math class went to my mom my junior year, and she told her, "Deb, here's the deal. I'm going to pass Michael. I better never see him in my class ever again."
What did you do? Why was she
terrible at math?
Okay. Just the way you told that story sounded
model
like...
student.
Yeah.
Model student who she wanted to strangle me because she's like, "What don't you get?"
Math is hard. That was always my worst subject.
Math's very black and white, and us people that aren't good at math, we deal with gray matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I should have gone into brains. I don't know. Nah, that's too much gray matter.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done that either. Anyway, shout out to Chevy Chase for providing us with the wonderful, I was told there would be no math. He does get the credit for that. Current conditions, 49 over 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. A marvelous Monday start. Temperatures really sitting in the mid to high 50s. And eventually, Make it up close to 60 degrees. Remember, a little rain gonna kick in tonight. Take us through early Tuesday morning, but should be gone by Tuesday morning's drive. Bronte?
Well, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Tom Brady unretires after 2 months vowing to finish his unfinished business. Plus, we'll take you to meet an animal rescue in California that's using a different form of healing on abused and neglected animals. And former President Obama announces on Twitter he was diagnosed with COVID. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh State softball 14-7 headed into conference play. Gorillas' best record since the 2017 season. Pitt State hosting a pair of games against Lincoln to open up the MIAA schedule. In game 1, PSU down 1 in the third. Sophia Driver. When that's your name, I'm sorry, you're gonna hit. All right, solo shot to right. A few batters later, Kiana Pellegrino. Get up, get out, get some. Gorillas up 7-6 and stay hot in the next inning. Keela Griffith. Just keep the bats a-rolling. Griffith homers to center. And then the same inning, Pellegrino's back up with the bases loaded. Just misses the granny. Good enough for a bases-clearing triple as the Gorillas keep pouring it on. Let's finish with Paxton Hayes. She's got 7 this year. That's a 3-run homer for Hayes. Pitt State rolls Lincoln as the bats just come alive and they win it 15-7. In game 2, Gorillas score 4 runs in the first inning, and it was on after that as they sweep Lincoln, take game 2 10-1. Paxton Hayes, well, if she finished last game with number 7, in game 2 she hit number 8. It was a 3-run homer. Oh, by the way, she had 3 hits and 3 at-bats in game 2. Across the way, Pitt State baseball hosting Northwest Missouri State. Gorillas aiming to clinch the series. Jordan Maxson gets his Gorillas going. Get up in that jet stream. I love that. 2-run home run to left, his first of 3 home runs in the game. We'll get more from him in just a little bit. Third inning, Pitt State now trailing Caden Fowler. That's a solo shot. Same inning, here we go. Mason Hartman. The chopper, put the ball in play, good things happen. That's an RBI single. Pitt State claims the lead and they're not done. Maxson back up later in the third, another single to left, 4 for 5. 3 homers for Maxson, 3 home runs, 7 runs driven in. Caleb Card, right up the middle, 2 score off the base hit. Gorillas put up 11 runs in the third and go on to win 21-11. Thank you, Jetstream. Missouri Southern Lions riding a 6-game win streak into their first conference matchup of the year. Lions at home taking on Central Missouri. In game 1, the Jennies are up 2-0. Kara Amos. Stay fair. Here comes Ashlyn Williams, who scores from second. That's the Lions' first run of the game. Then Tori Frazier says, I'm not going to leave Amos out there. Base knock. That's going to tie it up at 2. Amos scores without a throw. Same score in the 5th. Check out Yasmin Vargas. Ho-ho! Flying through left field with a diving catch. Bottom half, Vargas at the plate. Do it with the glove, do it with the bat. Down the line, Frazier scores. Lions got their first lead of the day. And they just add to it. Leighton Withers, RBI single brings home Vargas. Southern battles to a game 1 victory. Final score, 4-2. Now in game 2, Central Missouri finally snapped Southern's 7-game win streak as the Jennies win it 6-3 to split the doubleheader. Vargas still went 2 for 3 with 2 runs driven in for the Lions. Missouri Southern baseball in the middle of a road series. It's up against Central Oklahoma. Lions shut out the Broncos 7-0. Logan Van Way, 7 innings, 1 hit ball, struck out 11. And that dude, Tommy Stevenson, doing what he does, he hit 2 home runs. Stevenson leads all of Division II with 12 homers this season. Ryan Dorn and Drew Davis also hit home runs as Southern clinches the series. Game 3 set for this afternoon. First pitch, 1 p.m. Pittsburgh State hosted the Division II Indoor National Championships over the weekend. The men took 3rd place as a team. The women tied for 5th. And PSU senior Trace Mosby gave the Gorillas an early lift on the final day of competition. Mosby placed in the top 5 in 4 of the 5 pentathlon events. That includes a first-place finish in the 800 meter. She scored 4,098 points, and that is good enough to earn herself a national runner-up finish. And she did this all the while battling through injury.
It was incredible. I came in pretty nervous and scared, not knowing what would happen, if we could even get a hurdle race, a high jump, all of those events in, but I went above my expectations, so I'm just blessed that it held through, and prayed a whole lot, and my family prayed, hey. And so it went better than I could have asked for, and I'm just so blessed that I continue to do it, because it's hard fighting through fear.
Congratulations to Mosby to fight through that. That's an amazing athlete right there. Selection Sunday for the Division I men's basketball tournament that you watched right here on KOAM. Kansas Jayhawks earning an automatic bid into the tournament. That comes after beating Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship on Saturday. KU going to play the winner of Texas Southern and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Jayhawks first round game set for this Thursday. It will take place. I found this curious because TCU must be the host team. It's going to be in Fort Worth. Not in Dallas, not in Arlington. It will actually be in Fort Worth. Razorbacks claiming a 4 seed. Arkansas gets Vermont. That game's going to be Thursday. Much closer to Vermont's home, that's for sure. Hogs got to go all the way to Buffalo, New York. Finally, some football news. If you're waking up right now and you're going, no, Michael, this is not happening. It's happening. Retirement lasted 40 days. But it's happening. It'll be his 23rd season. I realize his place is still on the field. It says he has some unfinished business in Tampa. Gonna make Brett Favre look good by the time this is all said and done. Hey, he's in the NFC, Chiefs fans. What are you worried about? All right? You won't run into him until the last game of the season, probably. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, refugees pour into Poland as they flee their own war-torn country. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Roll over and get our Monday morning weather started. Great shot of the moon if you look out to the west right here. It'll actually be full on the 18th. So right after St. Patrick's Day is a full, but at this point, it looks about as full to the naked eye as can be. It's gorgeous. 49 degrees right now over 7th and Range Line. Just want to recap, we'll break out a new segment here that we're going to run probably on Mondays and Fridays for the most part. Scattered rain beginning this afternoon through the nighttime. No threat of severe weather. Take us into early Friday. Warming on Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to be delightful up into the 70s. And then some rain re-emerging Thursday afternoon that'll carry us into Friday. Friday just a tad bit cooler, but not even close to the freezing mark. Today, despite the fact that we're going to pick up some afternoon scattered rain, early morning elevated fire concerns as it moves in close to 20 miles per hour out of the south. Very dry right now. Really won't be able to pick up any of that precipitable water that we need for our rain activity till we get to the later morning hours. Delightful outside, mid 40s, low 50s. Clean sky watch storm tracker. Saw a little cloud cover come through northwest Arkansas, but that tis about the extent of it. Hanging on to some rain out in the far western portion of Kansas. Well, really, I'd go eastern Colorado for the most part. Our rain eventually going to formulate up from the south. Just going to take a while to get here, but we see a low pressure system now beginning to develop right on the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, about 200, 250 miles out to the west of us. But here we go as we work through tonight. We'll put Future Track into motion and give you an idea. There it is, moving in from the west, and very scattered to begin with for the afternoon and early evening hours. The hardest rain going to stay south of I-44 into Tuesday morning, and the majority of it is really going to be done by the time we have to travel for Tuesday morning. Want to reiterate once again, not looking at the threat of anything severe. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Abused and neglected dogs and cats often suffer emotional scars that last years. Animal care workers in California say a holistic approach to healing humans works for animals as well.
Meet Pilgrim, an 8-year-old mixed breed found on the streets of Stockton.
He didn't want human contact. He avoided with his eyes with his body language.
He'd been feral for 4 years, then attacked by a neighborhood dog. That's when Cruisin' for Paws got the call last October.
I work in a field to where at-risk youth are my passion, so whatever it takes to accommodate them, to get them support and help is what's needed, and so it's transferred over to animals.
Deb Phillips runs the nonprofit devoted to dogs just like Pilgrim. He wouldn't let anyone near him.
We went ahead and set up a trap, we set up our camera, we had a feeding station, we were feeding him in and out of the trap. It took about 2 weeks for him to get very comfortable.
Once he was in their care, she realized what was going on.
Usually an outside behavior is because of an internal feeling.
X-rays revealed multiple fractures that had healed and arthritis on the right side of his body.
So obviously he doesn't want to be handled because he hurts and then he doesn't trust.
She immediately called her friend Rebecca Robinson.
I've done this for 28 years. Just because of the need.
This former health food store manager concocts flower remedies for distraught dogs and cowardly cats based on the work of Edward Bach, a medical doctor from England who believed emotional well-being was the key to good health.
He realized flowers have certain things that emanate from them that work internally.
Each dose is different based on what the behavioral problem is.
So they would tell me what was going on, I'd make them a formula, they would come back with fantastic results.
They gave some to Pilgrim. Trainer Elizabeth Black saw a change immediately.
I noticed like this whole kind of a switch in him to where he was coming out and he was wanting to come see me.
In Deb's heart, and it's a big one, she knows after working with hundreds of dogs, there's always a home that works for each dog's personality.
The more time, energy, and effort that you put into something, you can accommodate change.
Formulation of each treatment is based on the specific needs of each animal, bringing us to our question. What kind of therapy or therapies may you use? And we've given you quite a number of different options there. Connect to us at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or via our Facebook page. Health Watch is next.
What many dog lovers could have already told you. Man's best friend makes them feel better. A study published in the open access scientific journal PLOS One shows dogs may also be a doctor's best friend. In the research paper, Canadian doctors used therapy dogs to comfort people being treated in the emergency room for pain. Patients who spent 10 minutes with the therapy dog in the ER reported less pain than those getting conventional treatment alone. The study appears to be the first of its kind to test the use of therapy dogs in this setting. Researchers theorize the dogs relieve anxiety and depression and offer emotional support, which may change how some patients experience pain. Former President Barack Obama announced that he tested positive for COVID-19 Sunday. According to a tweet from his official account, Obama said he feels fine other than having a scratchy throat. The former president tested positive for coronavirus after having had mild symptoms for a couple of days. Obama says his wife Michelle, the former First Lady, has tested negative. The Obamas say they have both been double vaccinated and boosted. The former president hopes his case will serve as a reminder for everyone to get vaccinated if they haven't been already. Spring brings out day trippers and the go-to places to be for allergy sufferers. It's more than not go-to places. The Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America recently released its 2022 list of allergy capitals as the most challenging places to live. Some of these cities are Scranton, Pennsylvania, Wichita, Kansas, McAllen, Texas, Richmond, Virginia, and San Antonio, Texas. Other baddies: Oklahoma City, Hartford, Connecticut, Buffalo, New York, New Haven, Connecticut, and Albany, New York. The agency says more than 50 million of Americans suffer from some type of allergy. If you are what you eat, avoiding some foods may help you keep from what you don't want to be. Dietitians say certain foods can make those who suffer from anxiety have more problems with it, and they cite several foods or liquids to avoid worsening anxiety. Too much alcohol can hinder sleep patterns and affect anxiety, and diet sodas using artificial sweeteners are linked to anxiety and depression. Bread using high processed flour is another culprit, as well as ketchup and light salad dressings. Donuts and cakes with sugary frostings have high trans fat and affect depression. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Coming up, a fatal fire in Lamar claims the life of one person.
Quiet Midwest for the time being and a nice little warm-up trend for the middle of the week. However, we're going to go a little scattered to March rain in between. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, Joplin PD mourns the loss of a retired chaplain following their most recent loss.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. We'll have those stories and more, and we'll talk more about Pilgrim and how holistic healing helped him. But first, let's go over to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center to talk about opening up your windows this week.
It's going to be a great day for it, and even though we're going to pick up a little afternoon and evening rain, Bronte, not looking at anything severe, may enjoy the sound of it coming down. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and take a look at what to watch for this Monday through Friday. Now, no threat of severe weather with our afternoon and evening rains, and then warming up into the middle of the week with 70s on the horizon for both Wednesday and Thursday. That rain reemerges there Thursday afternoon into Friday morning. A little bit of a cold front, but able to stay well above the freezing mark, so we don't have to worry about any wintry weather reemerging. There's a great shot of the moon. It'll be full here in 4 days. The March full moon coming on March the 18th, but still looks gorgeous if you look out to the west. 49 degrees over 7th and Rangeline. Wind already coming in at 17 miles per hour, just about up to 50 right there in Carthage and in Joplin. Let's roll 48 in Chanute. Miami sits at a very comfortable 46. Up into the high 50s, if not low 60s later on this day. We'll see some increase in cloud cover, and then we can talk a little bit about our rain. Begins for the afternoon hours. Scattered variety. Heaviest rain going to stay down to the south below I-44. And then as we get into Tuesday morning, early Tuesday morning, you'll watch how it dives off to the southeast right there. So really shouldn't have any travel concerns. As we get ready for the middle of March, St. Patrick's Day there on Thursday, still looking great. And like I said, Bronte, even with that rain for Thursday into Friday, overnight lows only down to 44 and 37. So we'll just keep everything as rain.
Right, thanks, Michael. A fire at a home in Lamar leaves one person dead. Around 6 Saturday morning, Lamar police and fire responded to a fire at a home near the intersection of 10th and Grand. They found flames and heavy smoke showing from the home. 67-year-old William Parker and 71-year-old Betty Jo Parker lived at the home. Officials say that Betty Jo was found dead. They say it appears she went back into the home to rescue a pet and was overcome by smoke. William is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire has been ruled accidental. As the Joplin Police Department mourns the loss of 2 officers in the line of duty this week, they're now mourning the loss of a long-time former chaplain. Roger Nichols was chaplain for JPD for 18 years. The department said in a Facebook post he selflessly served the department and specifically the family of Officer Tim Nielsen after Tim gave his life in service to the community. Nichols was killed in a crash on East 20th Street in Joplin. He was 60 years old. Now here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
All right, Bronte, as we're going through our day planner here, let's remember that we're going to have some scattered rain showers for the afternoon. Certainly not looking at anything severe and really able to make it up into the 60s before that. Give you a little timing here as far as what we have on future track as it emerges from the east. And it's one of those weird days because we've got the elevated fire risk for early this morning because of the strong south wind and our lack of humidity. And as we get through the later morning hours, that's when finally the Gulf moisture begins to pick up a little bit. And that's why everything moves in from the south. As we get into early Tuesday morning, we see everything begin to dive off. Actually, not going to be bad to pick up a little rain. We find ourselves just about 0.8 of an inch below average at Joplin Regional Airport.
This morning, we are discussing therapy. Abused and neglected animals often suffer from emotional scars for years. However, there's a new approach animal care workers in California are trying. What is it? holistic healing. They used the work of Edward Bach, a medical doctor from England who believed emotional well-being was the key to good health. Each treatment is tweaked to meet the needs of not only dogs, but cats as well. They tried it on a dog named Pilgrim, who was a feral dog that had damage done to him via arthritis and other things. They saw a change in Pilgrim and are hopeful that it'll continue to work. This brings us to our something to talk about. What kind of therapy or therapies do you use?
Right now, Bronte, we've got 45% of people chiming in saying a little PT, never hurt anybody, the physical therapy. We've got 22% say it's mental and meditation. I can see those kind of going hand in hand, and 11% with the other. Of course, you can connect to us each and every morning. Go straight to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also connect to us via our Facebook page, or if you have your phone handy, all you have to do is snap a picture of our QR code right there. It'll not only deliver you to this morning's poll, but each and every morning we'll do so, and no reason to scramble for the phone. Hang on to your coffee. We'll bring it back here in just a little bit. Make sure you got ample time to take a picture of it. Bronte?
Well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up in the first half hour of the KOAM Morning News. A dad goes viral on the internet because of an unreleased disco track. Plus, Macron and President Biden vow to hold Russia more accountable for the war on Ukraine with more sanctions. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, the humanitarian crisis spurred by the Russian invasion of Ukraine only continues to grow. More than 2.7 million refugees have already fled the country. CNN's Ed Lavandera is on the Polish border with Ukraine, where thousands are crossing every day.
This is the pathway that is bringing thousands of Ukrainian refugees to safety and also to a life of uncertainty. Many of these people have been traveling from the interior of the country. We spoke with one family that had come from Kryvyi Rih, which is, as fate would have it, the hometown of Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's hometown, and obviously has become such a beloved figure among the Ukrainian people. They told us they had been traveling since 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and it was just after midnight when they finally arrived to this border checkpoint in the cold here in Poland. And the uncertainty now comes from the fact that as these families begin to board these buses, what happens to them next is still very much up in the air. They will be taken to temporary shelter in a nearby town here on the Polish border, and they will be able to figure out what to do next, where to go next. And that is the question that so many of them are now facing, because many of them, when you speak to these refugees, they talk about their homes in the past tense. So they don't know if they're going home in the coming weeks or even months, or if ever. And this is an operation here in the border city of Medyka, Poland, that is running 24 hours a day as thousands of refugees continue to come across the border. And this is a scene that even here in the late hours continues to unfold as thousands of refugees continue to arrive at the border here in western Ukraine. A great deal of uncertainty about what happens next, a great deal of emotion, watching what so many of these people and the journey they've been through. And this is a scene that just continues to play out around the clock here in Poland. Ed Lavandera, CNN, Medyka, Poland.
President Joe Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron are vowing to hold Russia accountable for its actions against Ukraine. The two leaders spoke by phone Sunday about the ongoing invasion. According to the Elysee Palace, Biden and Macron agreed on strengthening sanctions already taken against Russia, reiterating their support for Ukraine and joining efforts on initiatives to end the fighting. Macron also held a phone call Sunday with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A fire at a home in Lamar leaves one person dead. Around 6 this morning, Lamar police and fire responded to a fire at a home near the intersection of 10th and Grand. they found flames and heavy smoke showing from the home. 67-year-old William Parker and 71-year-old Betty Jo Parker lived at the home. Officials say that Betty Jo was found dead in the home. They say it appears she went back into the home to rescue a pet and was overcome by smoke. William is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire has been ruled accidental. As the Joplin Police Department mourns the loss of 2 officers in the line of duty this week, they're now mourning the loss of a longtime former chaplain. Roger Nichols was a chaplain for JPD for 18 years. The department said in a Facebook post that he selflessly served the department and specifically the family of Officer Tim Nielsen after Tim gave his life in service to the community. Nichols was killed in a crash on East 20th Street in Joplin. He was 60 years old. Workers at Trinity Circle Horses Healing Hearts know a lot of first responders are hurting right now, and they want to help. So they're offering any emergency service worker free equine therapy. Trinity Circle is located in Goodman, Missouri. Some workers there have relatives who worked as emergency personnel. Joplin's North Park Mall played host to the 8th annual March of the Kidney. The walk raises money for the Freeman Dialysis Patient Assistance Fund. That fund helps local patients with special dietary needs, transportation to specialized kidney transplant appointments, and more. Officials with Freeman say it's great to see the community come together every year for this special walk. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Trying to get up to 50 degrees already. As a matter of fact, Welch just hit that number. We've got 49s in Joplin, Carthage, and Neodesha. A very pleasant Monday morning. No worries on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Sunshine early before the cloud cover begins to increase. Now, one thing we are going to have to watch out for is there are elevated fire concerns for this morning, which sounds a little strange because we're going to pick up some rain here for the afternoon and evening. Sunrise at 7:30 as the clouds slowly increase and we make our way into the high 50s, if not low 60s by the time it's said and done. Let's put Future Track into motion and give you an idea of exactly when we got that rain coming from. Works up from the south. Nothing severe, that is for sure. Very limited lightning risk. Doubt we'll hardly see any strikes even involved with it. As we work into Monday night, the hardest of the rain wants to stay along and south of I-44. Doesn't mean that if you live up to the north that you're not going to certainly get some raindrops, but that's where we'll just see the majority of it continue to fall for Tuesday night or Monday night into Tuesday morning, and shouldn't have any role in our commute as it dives off down to the southeast. Stays more so in northwest Arkansas through Tuesday afternoon. Gradually warming up, 70s for Wednesday and Thursday. Then for St. Patrick's Day, a little bit of nighttime rain and a little bit of a cold front, but well above the freezing mark, so it stays as rain. More KOAM morning news right after this.
A disco dad has gone viral after his son stumbled on his father's ultra-catchy but never released disco single. Gene Moose reports it's hard not to bop to this.
An Arizona teenager is having a ball, a disco ball, discovering his disco dad, aspiring musician Zach Montana, got in his dad's truck and a CD came on.
What the? It's so good! It's disco, but it's so good!
And then he heard a familiar voice. Zach's dad used to tour with the band Boston, but this song was news to his son.
Oh my God! And he never released it! I'm so mad at him!
So Zach released it on TikTok, and father and son ended up on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Why do you have a CD player in your car, by the way? Because I'm old.
70 years old, but William Curly Smith wasn't too old to perform Surrender to Me. Performed it with his son and newly formed group, Fire City Funk. Fans raved online. That's a banger, and begged, please release this. Back in the late 70s, Smith said he couldn't get a record deal.
So I just put it on a shelf for 43 years, and every now and then I would listen to it and go, hey, that was pretty good.
So good, it's now on Spotify, streamed over 1 million times.
But it feels so
No one's feeling it more than his son. Disco Dad has circled back from the 70s. Oh, we surrender all right. Jeannie Most, CNN.
We'll be right back with one final look at your forecast.
7-day forecast has temperatures up close to 60. I think we'll see some 61s and 62s here just a little bit later. But also, too, you'll notice we've got some evening rain that's going to carry us into Tuesday. And, of course, we're coming off of severe weather preparedness week. Now, here's the great thing about this. We find ourselves about 0.8 of an inch below normal at Joplin Regional Airport for this time of year on March 14th. So a little rain, not a bad thing, because we actually have elevated fire concerns early this morning with our strong south wind and our low humidity. But as we get into the afternoon, the scattered rain through the evening stays just as rain. No thunderstorm activity to speak of. When you get along and duck below I-44, that's where we'll see the majority of our accumulation. Coming up here in just a little bit, let's break down what we can anticipate for the rest of our week when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Coming up, a fatal house fire over the weekend claims the life of one person in Lamar.
Bronte, thanks in part two. Number one, some warmer temperatures. Number two, some rain. We'll start to see some March blooms here. We'll tell you what to watch for this week from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, the Joplin Police Department suffers another tragic loss as a retired chaplain dies in a car crash.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. Let's throw it over to Michael for a first look at the forecast.
Unleash something a little new on this Monday morning, Bronte. We're going to call it What to Watch. If anybody comes up with a better name, I am all ears. Just figured that'd be a good way to start. But anyway, we'll break this down each Monday and each Friday, give you an idea of what to look for your week, and then what to look for your weekend. For this week, scattered rains beginning this afternoon, no threat of severe weather. That's the great news. And a warming trend into the middle of the week. We're going to throw up 70s on Wednesday and Thursday with the rain re-emerging then Thursday into Friday. Cooler temps on Friday as well, but well above the freezing mark. 48 degrees is where we stand over 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. All right, so we're talking about afternoon and evening rain. At that same time, we have an elevated fire risk this morning, and that's something else, and that's because our wind coming in at 15 miles per hour and very low morning humidity, only 50% right now. 45 in Fort Scott, let's roll 46 in Neosho and Miami, 49 in Neodesha. So I got a bunch of places that are right close to 50, in the Midwest remaining very, very clear and clean. All our rain is actually going to originate from some Gulf moisture that'll push up on us later this afternoon. Before we get there, still able to make it up into the high 50s, still below 60 every now and then. You will notice the clouds will increase as we get through our afternoon hours. Take off the cloud cover so we can concentrate on our precipitation as it moves in. And while scattered, it would be the best way to determine it. Up to the north and up to the west, you're going to get some rain, but certainly not as much as what we'll see along and south of I-44, especially when we talk about early Tuesday morning. And here's the great thing about Tuesday morning. By the time you get in the car, you're ready to leave, everything's really pushed off down to the southeast. And the fact that we avoid thunder, lightning, flooding, that's a great sign. Then we begin our warm-up, 70s Wednesday and Thursday, a little more additional rainfall on St. Patrick's Day night.
All right, thanks, Michael. A fire at a home in Lamar leaves one person dead. Around 6 Saturday morning, Lamar police and fire responded to a fire at a home near the intersection of 10th and Grand. They found flames and heavy smoke showing from the home. 67-year-old William Parker and 71-year-old Betty Jo Parker lived there. Officials say that Betty Jo was found dead inside. They say it appears she went back into the home to rescue a pet and was overcome by smoke. William is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire has been ruled accidental. The Joplin Police Department has announced details about the funeral for Corporal Ben Cooper. The city and police department want to express their deepest gratitude for the overwhelming amount of support from the community as we all mourn the loss of Corporal Ben Cooper. If you're attending the public funeral service on Tuesday, you must enter through the checkpoint at the intersection of Newman Road and Duquesne Road. Officials encourage anyone in the community who wants to honor Corporal Cooper to attend the service. Members of the public are invited to line Main Street from 3rd to 19th Street to show their support. The procession will travel the route between 3 and 4 on Tuesday, and people should avoid parking on Main Street during that time. The city also said people should expect brief traffic delays in and around Joplin on Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Additionally, Duquesne Road between Newman and Tallgrass Drive will be closed from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Funeral services were also announced for Officer Jake Reed, killed in the same encounter. These services will also be at MSSU. Visitation will be on Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. The funeral will be on Friday at 1. The Joplin Police Department announced it'll retire the radio numbers of Corporal Cooper and Officer Reed in the coming days. Officials say an officer's radio number becomes a part of their identity and adds another piece to the brotherhood of law enforcement. Corporal Cooper's radio number was 222. Officer Reed's number was 270. Officer Rick Hershey was also shot on Tuesday. At last report, Hershey was in serious but stable condition, recovering from a gunshot to the face. The police chief said Hershey will likely require numerous surgeries and a long recovery. As the Joplin Police Department mourns the loss of 2 officers in the line of duty this week, they're now mourning the loss of a longtime former chaplain. Roger Nichols was a chaplain for JPD for 18 years. The department said in a Facebook post that he selflessly served the department and specifically the family of Officer Tim Nielsen after Tim gave his life in service to the community. Nichols was killed in a crash on East 20th Street in Joplin. He was 60 years old. High-level talks are taking place in Europe today as the war in Ukraine lands just a few miles outside the Polish border. Diplomats from Russia and Ukraine are scheduled to meet for another round of talks while the U.S. National Security Advisor meets with a Chinese official today in Rome. News of these talks didn't stop Russia from striking a military training facility with roughly 30 cruise missiles, killing at least 35 people. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned NATO countries it would only be a matter of time before Russian missiles fall on their citizens. We'll have more on the war in Ukraine in our next half hour. On this date in 1964, Jack Ruby, who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, the accused assassin of President John F. Kennedy, is found guilty of the murder with malice of Oswald and sentenced to die in the electric chair. It was the first courtroom verdict to be televised in U.S. history. On November 24, 1963, 2 days after Kennedy's assassination, Lee Harvey Oswald was brought to the basement of the Dallas Police headquarters on his way to a more secure county jail. As Oswald came into the room, Jack Ruby emerged from the crowd and fatally wounded him live on the air with a single shot from a concealed .38 revolver. In January 1967, while awaiting a new trial to be held in Wichita Falls, Ruby died of lung cancer in a Dallas hospital.
A couple things about that, Bronte. Number one, to imagine a trial of that magnitude being held in Wichita Falls would have been a circus in and of itself, and that is no offense to the people of Wichita Falls, relatively small city, even smaller. Back then in the 60s, really right along the Oklahoma-Texas state line. If you cross Wichita Falls, you've actually crossed the state line. That would have been something else. Also, too, growing up in the state of Texas, Texas history is pounded into you. I mean, pounded into you. Minus one historical event. The entire Lone Star State, for those of you that may have lived down there or raised kids down there, the entire Lone Star State likes to bury their head in the sand like ostriches and pretend that never happened. That being said, that's why I had to read about it as I got older. I realized it, and it was like, oh, guess we don't talk about JFK down here. 7-day forecast for today. Highs around, I'll say 59 to 62 degrees. Scattered rain for the afternoon into the evening hours. Nothing severe. That's the positive aspect and should be done by our Tuesday morning commute.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we'll take you to an ammunition manufacturer in Wisconsin who's donating 1 million rounds to Ukraine. Plus, 4-time Oscar nominee William Hurt passed away on Sunday due to prostate cancer. We'll take a look at his career. And if daylight savings time throws off your sleep, you're not alone. We've got some information that may help you adjust when we come back. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
With 4 strips of crispy bacon and rich melty cheese and 2 juicy charbroiled patties, of course no meeting can compete with this meat. Give in to the new Double Bacon Beast Burger at Hardee's and feed your happy.
I want a company that I can trust.
Honesty and integrity at its core.
A company that is responsive, friendly, and helpful.
Helping customers and being there when they...
Topping Nation Watch this morning, a 17-year-old boy was shot and killed by a 9-year-old in Philadelphia. Saturday evening, police say they responded to a report of a person with a gun for a teenage boy that shot himself and a baby. Once they arrived, they found the 17-year-old with a gunshot wound to the back of his head and a 7-year-old girl. The teenage boy was pronounced dead. The girl injured her left foot trying to get to safety during the incident. She was not shot. On Sunday, police say their preliminary investigation has revealed the gunshot wound was not self-inflicted. Police say a 9-year-old child in the home fired the fatal shot. In Florida, people gathered in St. Petersburg to protest the state's so-called Don't Say Gay bill that has passed in the state Senate. Ashley Paul reports.
We say gay, free to be gay. We say gay all day.
It's okay to say gay. That's the message people out here want the community to know.
Finding that sense of community is just literally the whole reason why humans exist, is to connect with each other. And if you can't be who you actually are, if you can't admit to the people around you in schools or in homes or whatever, then you're not actually connecting.
Among them is Mandy Keys. She's lived here in St. Pete for over 12 years. But growing up in small town Wisconsin, she says laws like this can be detrimental.
Different laws already did exist when I was a child, and that's part of the reason why I never was able to figure it out for myself until after college, because it was more taboo, and gay marriage was illegal, and don't ask, don't tell, and all these other things.
Mandy is now out and proud of it, but she says she worries about one day possibly raising kids of her own in a world that she says does not teach love and acceptance.
It's just horrible that we're taking a step backwards when society should be progressing forward.
She says it's so important to give kids in the LGBTQ community a safe space to be themselves.
Unfortunately, some of them don't have that safe space at home. And if they don't have it at home and they can't have it at school, then where are they going to get it?
Mandy hopes the ACLU and other organizations deem this bill unconstitutional if it's signed into law.
The Parental Rights in Education bill bans instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity in K through 3rd grade in public schools. The bill already passed the State House and now heads to Governor Ron DeSantis, who's expected to sign it. U.S. documentary filmmaker Brent Renaud has died in Ukraine. The New York Times, citing Ukrainian officials, say Russian forces killed Renaud in Irpin, on the outskirts of Kyiv. Sunday, Ukrainian officials say another journalist was wounded in the attack. Journalist Anne-Marie Lipinski shared this photograph of Renaud, who has spent 20 years making documentaries. He won a Peabody Award and 2 Columbia DuPont Awards. His works include Dope Sick Love and Off to War. Renaud was 50 years old. Academy Award-winning actor William Hurt died Sunday at the age of 71. Hurt was one of Hollywood's hottest leading men of the 80s, with films like Body Heat, Broadcast News, and The Big Chill. A 4-time Oscar nominee, he won the Best Actor award for the 1985's Kiss of the Spider-Woman. In recent years, he was perhaps best known for playing the Hulk's nemesis in a series of Marvel superhero movies. Hurt was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2018. The actor passed away surrounded by his family at his home in Portland, Oregon. That's a look at today's top national stories. We'll be right back with a look at how one American manufacturer is helping the efforts in Ukraine.
Well, there are many efforts to help Ukraine. A Wisconsin company is stepping up to help in the fight against Russia, going beyond first aid supplies, money, clothing. It's a manufacturer that's donating 1 million rounds of ammunition. Nathan Phelps with the story.
One company here in Wisconsin making this donation to the war effort in Ukraine. Donating 1 million rounds of 7.62 by 39 millimeter ammunition to Ukraine forces is something Andy Yunk is glad to be part of. He's the production manager for the loading department at Ammo Inc. in Manitowoc.
Proud to be part of something where we're helping out the little guy, doing everything we can to help out the Ukrainian people.
He's operating a machine making 9mm ammunition.
It's just nice to know that the ammunition is going to somewhere that can actually be used to keep themselves safe.
Arizona-based Ammo Inc. recently announced it is willing to donate 1 million rounds of ammunition to the Ukraine military. It also has Department of Defense contracts and supplies ammunition to law enforcement and the commercial market. Vice President of Operations, Jim Mann, says the donation has been well received by employees.
We have a proud group of employees that do enjoy helping from that standpoint and want to help anywhere that they can.
Mann says the company employs 300 people in Manitowoc and is growing.
As we continue to grow that business, it's great to be able to participate in a donation like that and provide some of that and be able to give back.
Ammo Inc. said it is working to navigate the logistical and legal complexities of delivering the ammunition to Ukraine quickly. That's something Young and co-workers are watching with pride.
Yeah, people are very excited to be part of it. Big thing is it's kind of something we can do to help out the little guy, help out the country of Ukraine, get the people what they need, and every little bit helps.
In a fight half a world away, workers like Young here in Wisconsin say they're hoping to make a difference.
Richard Childress, NASCAR owner, also committing that his company would stop taking orders that had been placed, and they were only now taking orders from the Ukrainian military. Heard that in an interview with Richard Childress over the weekend. Temperatures right now in the 4 states ranging from the mid to high 50s. We did have Welch hanging in there at 50, slipped back down to 49, but still a delightful looking Monday morning. You'll also notice the Midwest staying on the very dry and quiet side, so we like that for the time being. We will have some increasing cloud cover and strong south winds lifting us up into the high 50s, low 60s, but also too bringing us a little scattered rainfall for tonight into tomorrow morning. The majority of the accumulation, I think you're going to see sporadic raindrops even up to the north and the west, but the majority of the accumulation will stay along and south of I-44 for northeast Oklahoma and the southern portion of southwest Missouri, and a 7-day forecast with 70s on Wednesday and Thursday. Be back right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. If daylight savings time throws off your sleep, there's a reason for that. Mandy Gather has more on how the time change can affect you.
It's that time of year again, and if springing forward takes a little pep out of your step, you're not alone.
The inside clock, the clock inside our brain that regulates sleep and wakefulness, is typically a very reliable periodic process. And having just 1 hour shift can actually affect us pretty significantly.
Dr. Nancy Fulvery is a sleep specialist at Cleveland Clinic. She says the time change can affect your body, making you more vulnerable to stroke or heart attacks. Being sleepy can also cause you to be less alert when driving.
All of us have our own vulnerability to circadian rhythm changes, and some of us can manage in very difficult situations when our sleep structure changes and adapt well, and others cannot.
To help your body adapt, Fulvery says to plan ahead. Make sure your body is getting the rest it needs every day, and make sure you don't put anything into your body that might mess with your sleep. Drinking alcohol or caffeine before bed or eating a big meal late at night may make you miss out on those Z's.
We all know how much sleep we need.
If your sleep troubles last longer than a couple of months, it's time to see a doctor.
The CDC says adults need 7 or more hours of sleep every night for the best health and well-being. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
7 hours, that's one man's opinion. You let me know when that 7 hours presents itself on a regular basis. That would be very nice. Temperatures right now high to mid 40s, eventually working up close to 60 degrees. You notice that noon panel right there? That's the strong south wind, elevated fire concerns for this morning. And I tell you what, it's a quick change because with the increasing cloud cover bringing us moisture from the south, we go from the elevated fire concerns to a little evening and nighttime rain. And we are down about 0.8 of an inch, so kind of to the point now where it's a little bit needed, and because we've been talking about those fire concerns ever since the beginning of March. And not looking at anything severe, that's the great point. Stays scattered, doesn't really organize into a line of thunderstorm activity, and should be done by Tuesday's travel. Tuesday, 60s once again, Wednesday and Thursday. Let's roll some 70s, and let's return with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, a fatal house fire over the weekend claims the life of one person in Lamar.
Great start to our work week. Going to have very nice temperatures, and we're actually going to get some much needed rain. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, the Joplin Police Department suffers another tragic loss as a retired chaplain dies in a car crash.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:28. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. Now,
our key factors for this week. Number 1, some very nice mild temperatures. Number 2, some rain. But number 3, I think this is the most important thing because we're coming off of severe weather preparedness week. No threat of severe weather with our rain, whether it be for tonight into tomorrow or whether it be for the reemergence of it from Thursday into Friday. And sandwiched in between there, how about some 70s that we're going to throw up on Wednesday and Thursday? From 7th and Rangeline, a comfortable 48 degrees. The wind already picking up and the humidity very, very low. That's why we've got a morning elevated fire risk right now. Still waiting on anybody to get to 50. Welch was hanging there for just a minute and then it was gone. 47 in Carthage, 49 in Neodesha. Let's roll 45 in Nevada. Midwest remaining dry. Our precipitation going to work in from the Gulf. Starting to see a little bit formulate down here, way on the bottom of the screen. Before we get there, we'll have some increasing cloud cover and very comfortable for this afternoon, right on par for our average mid-March temperatures, high 50s, low 60s. And the rain, as it does begin to work up for the afternoon, scattered. Want to point out once again, not looking at anything severe. Probably won't even see any lightning or hear any thunder involved with this. The majority of the accumulation, I'm not going to say it's torrential. We don't even have any flooding concerns. But Tuesday morning will stay to the south of I-44 for northeast Oklahoma and our southern counties of southwest Missouri. After that, hey, throw some 70s up there on Wednesday and Thursday. Some additional rain for St. Patty's night into Friday morning. Once again, you know, enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. And after that rain hits, probably Thursday, I don't know, Bronte, I'd say about Thursday, I'd guess the noon hour around here. Be a great time to flip on KOAM after the KOAM morning news, get some stuff done, flip it back on.
Definitely.
We'll carry you through entire night of basketball.
Exactly.
There you go.
There you go. Thanks, Michael. The Joplin Police Department has announced details about the funeral for Corporal Ben Cooper. City and Police Department want to express their deepest gratitude for the overwhelming amount of support from the community as we all mourn the loss of Corporal Ben Cooper. If you're attending the public funeral service on Tuesday, you must enter through the checkpoint at the intersection of Newman Road and Duquesne Road. Officials encourage anyone in the community who wants to honor Corporal Cooper to attend the service. Members of the public are invited to line Main Street from 3rd to 19th Street to show their support. The procession will travel the route between 3 and 4 on Tuesday, and people should avoid parking on Main Street during that time. The city also said people should expect brief traffic delays in and around Joplin on Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Additionally, Duquesne Road between Newman and Tallgrass Drive will be closed from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Funeral services were also announced for Officer Jake Reed, killed in the same encounter. These services will also be at MSSU. Visitation will be on Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. The funeral will be at Friday at 1. A fire at a home in Lamar leaves one person dead. Around 6 Saturday morning, Lamar police and fire responded to a fire at a home near the intersection of 10th and Grand. They found flames and heavy smoke showing from the home. 67-year-old William Parker and 71-year-old Betty Jo Parker lived at the home. Officials say that Betty Jo was found dead in the home. They say it appears she went back into the home to rescue a pet and was overcome by smoke. William is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire has been ruled accidental. As the Joplin Police Department mourns the loss of 2 officers in the line of duty this week, they're now mourning the loss of a longtime former chaplain. Roger Nichols was chaplain for JPD for 18 years. The department said in a Facebook post that he selflessly served the department and specifically the family of Officer Tim Nielsen after Tim gave his life in service to the community. Nichols was killed in a crash on East 20th Street in Joplin. He was 60 years old. There are high-level talks happening in Europe today. Diplomats from Russia and Ukraine are having another round of discussions while U.S. National Secretary Advisor Jake Sullivan is in Rome to meet with a Chinese official about Russian disinformation and sanctions. Russia continued its brutal attack in Ukraine over the weekend, but Ukrainians vowed to continue fighting for their freedom. Bradley Blackburn has more.
Russia escalated its threat to Europe on Sunday with an attack just a few miles from the Polish border. Roughly 30 cruise missiles targeted a military training facility in Lviv, Ukraine, killing at least 35 people. President Vladimir Zelensky warned NATO countries it would only be a matter of time before Russian missiles fall on their citizens. This weekend, he met with wounded troops at a hospital in Kyiv. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan reaffirmed America's commitment to defending NATO.
If Russia attacks, fires upon, takes a shot at NATO territory, the NATO alliance would respond to that.
But Ukrainian officials are pleading for more support after a deal between Poland and the U.S. to provide Soviet-era fighter jets fell apart.
We have no time for this kind of ping-pong diplomacy. Give us all the weapons necessary and we will fight for our own land and for our people.
Some U.S. lawmakers are pressing the Biden administration to get those planes to Ukraine, despite how the Russians may react.
Vladimir Putin and the Russians seem to be saying everything is escalatory, and yet they are escalating every single day.
2 American journalists came under fire just outside of Kyiv. One of them, 50-year-old Brent Renault, was killed.
I saw him being shot in the neck, and we got split.
Renault, an award-winning documentary filmmaker, had been working on a project about refugees. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Renault is believed to be the first foreign journalist killed in this conflict. Meantime, a humanitarian convoy to the besieged city of Mariupol was blocked yesterday by Russian forces. President Zelensky says they would try again today. On this date in 1950, the FBI institutes the 10 most wanted fugitives list. The creation of the program arose out of a wire service news story in 1949 about the toughest guys the FBI wanted to capture. The story drew so much public attention that the 10 most wanted list was given the okay by J. Edgar Hoover the following year. Since its debut, hundreds of the criminals included on the list have been apprehended or located, with more than 150 as a result of tips from the public. Generally, the only way to get off the list is to die or be captured. Only 10 women have appeared on the 10 most wanted list. Ruth Eisman Shear was the first in 1968.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I really didn't know how long that had been around. Never thought about it. That's a good one. Last time I looked at it was a couple months ago. It was mostly drug cartels that were wanted on there. Also, too, not that I condone this, okay? I want to make that very clear. It's not Michael condoning anything. On most of those posters, there's a reward leading to the arrest or apprehension. Oh, no, it's a conviction. Ron, is it arrest and conviction, right? Yeah, it's arrest and conviction. Yeah. So you gotta get both of those. Not that, like, once again, nobody go vigilante out there. All right, here's our temperatures right now, mid to high 40s. Delightful start to a mid-March Monday as the Midwest remains dry. Remember, we are going to pick up some scattered rainfall for late afternoon. Not looking at anything severe. That's the positive aspect of it. Should be done by, say, tomorrow morning around 7, 8 o'clock, so it won't affect our morning commute.
Let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Not so fast. Tom Brady says he is not retiring. We'll tell you how that news could impact the value of Brady's last touchdown ball. Plus, it's not just people who benefit from therapy. We'll show you a new approach to animal care that benefits dogs, and we ask you if you have a favorite form of therapy. We let you weigh in, and we'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, even with inflation rising, the nation's unemployment rate keeps falling. Stocks fell to cap off another disappointment week for investors. Though Dow lost 229 points, the Nasdaq dipped 286. The S&P 500 slid 55. Russia's stock market will stay closed for the third week in a row. The Moscow exchange hasn't opened since February 25th. Since then, the ruble has crashed and much of the world has imposed crippling sanctions on Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. This week, the Federal Reserve is expected to hike interest rates for the first time since the pandemic began. Higher interest rates could help tackle rising inflation. On Wednesday, at the end of its two-day policy meeting, the central bank is likely to offer its insights into the global and U.S. economies. And Tom Brady unretired from football on Sunday. Besides players who have to continue to face him and their fans, one person who probably isn't thrilled with the news is the bidder of this football. It's Brady's last touchdown ball he threw, and it went for more than $500,000 on Saturday. Leland's auction has not commented on what, if anything, happens, now that the ball's value likely plummeted a mere hours after being sold. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
What could happen?
Oh.
No. That ball was sold when Tom Brady was still retired.
That is true.
Like, if I'm that dude who just thinks I sold that ball for $518,000, I'm going through the fine print on that contract I got with Leland's right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope nothing happens to that gentleman who sold that ball.
This is rough to be him right now.
We were talking during the commercial break. It seems like perfect timing on his part. And I'm not saying that the gentleman had any insider information or anything like that. It just so happens that the ball sold on Friday. We found out what it was on Saturday and on Sunday. And I'm not saying there's anything nefarious going on here. Not at all. As a matter of fact, the first thing that crossed my mind on Saturday when I heard the news about the ball being for sale, I was really hoping it was Mike Evans or Tom Brady who bought the ball. Brady, because he may have wanted it. It went to an undisclosed buyer, by the way. Mike Evans, because he's the one that threw the ball into the stands.
Right.
So, yeah, I hope we follow up on this one. And
Yeah.
Leland's, I swear, I think you have enough money in that fine print. Take care of this gentleman. All right, our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. I have to transition from that to talking about abused and neglected animals who often suffer from emotional scars for years. But there's now a new approach that animal care workers in California are trying, holistic healing, using a work of a gentleman by the name of Edward Bach. He's a medical doctor from England who believes emotional well-being is the key to good health, and they're seeing great results translating that into animals. Our question for you this morning, we kind of took it out of the animal realm and specifically asked you, what kind of therapy or therapies do you use? And 28%, still our clubhouse leader, 28% say physical, and now we've seen mental bump up to 23%, followed by spiritual, right there at 16%. Appreciate everybody's engagement each and every morning. I said I would bring back the QR code. Here it is. So once again, if you have your phone handy, all you have to do is snap a picture of our QR code, and that will deliver you to the poll each and every morning. And keep it up there for a couple of seconds. And once again, all you do is snap a picture of that. I'm going to check in with, see what's coming up on CBS. Okay. Yep. Okay. And now over to Tony.
I'm Tony Nicopol. Coming up on CBS Mornings, our series The Dish visits some Afghan restaurants in Washington, putting women front and center. Hear what they're trying to tell the world with their food and their message about women. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Brinley Norfolese, I tell you what we'll do, Bronte, is we'll come back and talk a little bit more about Max Reynolds. There's just some information I want to pass along about him being today's four-state hero. But first, let's jump into our birthday list with Brinley Norfolese, who's turning the big number 6. I hope maybe you're on spring break, kiddo. I'm not sure. She's in Carl Junction, and Brinley, this comes with happy birthday from Grammy and the entire family.
Up next, we have Connor Mitchell turning 7 years old. He is out of Webb City. Happy birthday, Connor.
Gabe Hutsing is turning 9. Had a birthday over the weekend right there. Great smile, kiddo. And this birthday wish comes with love from mom and dad.
Up next, we have Walker Stipp turning 9 years old, and Walker is out of Frontenac. Happy birthday.
Hallie Mulligan, she is also turning 9. What a gorgeous dress, Miss Hallie. A happy birthday to you in Galena.
Next, we have Tayton Pike turning 10. Tayton is out of Nevada, and you have a special message, love from Nanny and Poppy.
Ethan Adam with a 14th birthday. Ethan, a very happy birthday to you. He celebrates in Pittsburgh, celebrating that golden birthday, turning 14 on the 14th with love from the family.
Next, we have Brett Johnson turning 17 years old, and Brett is out of Parsons. Happy birthday.
After Brett Johnson, we have Braden Yarnell, who's turning 18. Braden, a happy birthday in Erie.
Next, we have Shelby Corbus turning 20. Shelby is from Pittsburgh, and you have a special birthday message with love from mom and dad.
Let the party commence in Sarcoxie as Eli Meyer is celebrating number 21. The birthday coming over the weekend on Friday. And Eli, this comes with love from the entire family.
Okay, next we have Ryan Coaster turning 24 years old. And Ryan is in Chanute.
We've got a Monken birthday, and it is Miss Ashley. Ashley, a very happy 36th birthday to you. Love the Monken family.
Also, in Chanute, we have Morgan Dewey turning 39 years old. And you have love from family out in Iowa.
Aaron Hensley with a 41st birthday. Miss Aaron, a very happy birthday to you as well.
In Pittsburgh, we have Alicia Norris turning 49 years old. Happy birthday, Alicia.
All right, in Dunweg, a happy 68th. Mr. Ronald Saxon. Ronald, I want you to know that these happy birthday wishes come from your wife, Felix. So Ronald, I want you to have a marvelous birthday, sir.
Okay, next, out of Humboldt, turning 97, we have Neil Hartwig Sr. So we hear that he loves these restored 1919 Indiana tractors. So, and you have birthday wishes coming from your blood family, H&H Grill family, and the entire town of Humboldt, Kansas. Happy birthday, and you're also one of our many 4-state heroes.
Cole and Courtney Edwards, congratulations. They're celebrating their first anniversary, and what a marvelous picture there. Cole and Courtney, I want you to have a great anniversary week. They're in Fredonia.
Also celebrating an anniversary, we have Rory and Lisa Chaplin celebrating their 18th anniversary, and they're out of Fort Scott.
Larry Sands celebrating. Wow, Larry, where's the birthday? Where's the birthday picture? We'll find out here. Larry, a very happy birthday in Erie. Also, speaking of pictures, Christy Watson-Bell. What a marvelous person right there. Christy, you know we love you, and a very happy birthday. And wait a second. Will York is supposed to get pictures because he's the one each and every morning, and Will folks does such a marvelous job. But Jeff and Melissa, who are one of his uncles and aunts, they are celebrating their 40th anniversary in Lawton. So congratulations to Larry, Christy, and Jeff and Melissa. Now, here's Bronte Sorotsky with a very important birthday announcement.
You can be part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. You can get special deals from local businesses. So go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
I wanted to revisit our 4-state hero, Max Reynolds, and give you some additional information on him because he means so much to the 4 states. He was a sergeant in the United States Army from 1942 to 1945 who served in the 104th 6981 Infantry Rifle Company. He was stationed in Europe where he earned 4 Bronze Stars. A native of Joplin, we salute you, Sergeant Max Reynolds, this morning's 4-state hero. And we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A fire at a home in Lamar leaves 1 person dead. Around 6 Saturday morning, Lamar police and fire responded to a fire at a home near the intersection of 10th and Grand. They found flames and heavy smoke showing from the home. 67-year-old William Parker and 71-year-old Betty Jo Parker lived at the home. Officials say that Betty Jo was found dead inside. They say it appears she went back into the home to rescue a pet and was overcome by smoke. William is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire has been ruled accidental. As the Joplin Fire Police Department mourns the loss of 2 officers in the line of duty this week, they're now mourning the loss of a longtime former chaplain. Roger Nichols was a chaplain for JPD for 18 years. The department said in a Facebook post that he selflessly served the department, and specifically the family of Officer Tim Nielsen, after Tim gave his life in service to the community. Nichols was killed in a crash on East 20th Street in Joplin. He was 60 years old. Workers at Trinity Circle Horses Healing Hearts know a lot of first responders are hurting right now, and they want to help. So they're offering any emergency service worker free equine therapy. Trinity Circle is located in Goodman, Missouri. Some workers there have relatives who worked as emergency personnel. Joplin's North Park Mall played host to the 8th annual March O' the Kidney. The walk raises money for the Freeman Dialysis Patient Assistance Fund. That fund helps local patients with special dietary needs, transportation to specialized kidney transplant appointments, and more. Officials with Freeman say it's great to see the community come together every year for this special walk. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Bronte, as we push through this afternoon, we'll make it up into the mid to high 50s. Look at this, though. Pick up a little scattered rainfall for the afternoon. Nothing severe. That's the excellent part of it. Will last until Tuesday morning. Get ready for 70s Wednesday and Thursday.
And coming up today at noon, we're making a mushroom rice bake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Morning news continues on KOAM. CBS Morning News coming up next. Russian airstrikes have hit large military bases near the western city of Lviv, killing 35 people, leaving more than 130 in the hospital. Charlie D'Agata with the latest from Ukraine. That does it for us here at KOAM. Do me a favor, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.